Take the guesswork out of your cycling training with Join Cycling, the adaptive app that builds a personalized plan around your goals, fitness, and availability. Start training smarter today. Check out Join Cycling through the link in the description below. The big TTT in the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. We've been waiting a while for another one of these. We've got Nivea, Ferrand-Prévot, Vollering, Reusser, all here, all close on time after the first three stages, where there's been some attacks, but no big gaps yet. And we have the Lacet de Marcenay, a 2.5k, 6% hill before a descent, and then finish in Dijon, 21ks. How impactful could 21ks of a time trial be? Lieke Nguyen. We had no reference, no benchmark for her TT. She didn't have the follow moto. We saw her at the intermediate very fast, and at the finish, she did a very, very fast time on the quicker section. She does a time of 27:34, but how good is that? Zoe Bäckstedt. I mean, Bäckstedt in the Tour de Suisse TT, which had 200 meters of elevation gain, but not as lengthy a hill as we have here. She was close to Reusser, 11 seconds or so. Faulkner doing well at T1 on the top of the hill. How would Bäckstedt do? Because you normally think, okay, this is a TT for more the punchers who can TT well. It's an Elisa Longo-Borghini TT. But actually, Bäckstedt, Nguyen, Faulkner, Bredevold, all these riders are within 10 seconds at the top of the hill where the intermediate time check is. But to the finish, Nguyen was still the fastest. And so we got confirmation she'd set a very, very serious time, beating Bäckstedt, who's an excellent world-class time trial rider, by 16 seconds. Average speed of 45 k's an hour. Faulkner, 50 seconds back. Again, proof that, okay, Nguyen might be in there for maybe a stage top 3, but we still got Marlen Reusser, Vollering, Anna van der Breggen. She won the Giro Mountain TT, but not as good today. 38 seconds back at T1, and then over a minute back on Nguyen. Niedermeyer, who's a pretty good time trial rider, normally for Canyon SRAM. They got two leaders here. They got Niedermeyer and Nivea, but it was Nivea who was much better today. Volodarczyk went out too fast and then I think blew up on the T1 to the finish split. Blasi looking confident, relaxed, in the white jersey for UAE Team Limad. But was she going to go full gas? Apparently there was debate before the race that she might not even do the TT full gas, but this looks pretty full gas to me. 30 seconds behind Nguyen there and about on a minute at the finish. So we're seeing now a lot of the very good GC riders, the powerful ones, they're all about a minute behind Nguyen. You know, Volodarczyk, Blasi, Niedermeyer, a little bit more than that. But where would Marlen Reusser be, the champion of the world in this discipline last year and also European champion? Look at her position, absolutely locked in. You'll hear her interview afterwards about how this was such a big target for her. And she's 20 seconds ahead of Nguyen at the top of the hill. You think this is wrapped up, but there were variable wind conditions. You see here, she's taken one arm out of the ski bars and she's putting it on the bull bars because of the wind conditions, then buffets her front wheel. So maybe Nguyen had advantageous wind conditions. Maybe Nguyen just coped with the conditions better. It didn't matter. Reusser beats her by just under 4 seconds. Stage win looking locked in, but how much time would she take on Nguyen's teammate, the defending champion of this race, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot? But she's more of a climber, as we saw on the Madeleine last year. And yes, we've got Ventoux on stage 6 coming up, or 7 rather. We have a transition stage in between, actually, the Beaujolais stage tomorrow. But how could she defend herself? She's not going to go for the stage win here, obviously. It's all about minimizing time loss, but that loss was getting big at the T1. She was 1 minute 20 back on Reusser at the slow part of the course, the 35k an hour part of the course with the hill, and that gap would expand to the finish, seeing at the finish she would lose over 2 minutes to Marlen Reusser. Quite a big loss, and also behind riders potentially like Elisa Longo-Borghini, Blasi, who are all on about a minute behind Reusser. Cassia Niewiadoma, she is the second leader for Canyon SRAM, probably their main leader. She looks the best so far. 42 seconds behind Reusser at T1. Bear in mind, Reusser went 20 seconds quicker than Nguyen, so Niewiadoma sets a crazy good time for a rider of her profile, about just over a minute slower than Reusser. She'll have to be happy with that, and that puts her in a really good chance of a podium in this race. race at least. Kerbal, a good TT as well, under a minute back on Marlon Reusser. And Kimla Corpina, we think she'd fit the profile for a rider, you know, would be good at the time trials. She's just an all-rounder. She's explosive. She can climb a hill as well, but she was 125 back. She would actually not set a great time behind even Ferron Prevot. And ELB, she was quicker than Demi Vollering. Apart from Reusser, she was the second quickest GC contender at T1. Vollering sets off looking good in her similar TT position to Marlon Reusser, actually, but she's 23 seconds behind her at T1, around the same time as Nguyen. You'll see that T1. Look at ELB. She's ahead of Vollering there. And she doesn't have the follow motor, so we don't know exactly what happens with Longoborghini, but we see her then a minute back at the finish. Apparently she had a puncture or a mechanical, and that explains, you know, losing that amount of time to the finish. Hauxet, who was in yellow, she loses that. She lost quite a bit of time because of Reusser's top performance. But Vollering, the lights go red, but she doesn't care. Yes, she doesn't win the stage, but when you see her reaction afterwards, she knows she's taken a lot of time. Seems pretty happy with that result, as she should be. Second best GC rider, but Reusser wins the stage 4 seconds ahead of Nguyen, then Vollering on 18. Backstedt, Bredevold, Faulkner, Kerbal, Kleis, Marcus, and ELB rounding out the top 10. Here's what the Swiss world champ had to say.
Yeah, of course, I'm super happy. This was kind of the idea that we had since a long time. I knew this Tour de France is the first Tour de France that I really saw as my goal of the year, that I really targeted, and that I am here as a leader. And I knew it's going to start in Switzerland and on the Swiss National Day, and we're going to have TT the 4th day, that is today. So we always said it's our project Dijon, like from the yellow of the moutarde, how you say, moutarde?
Mustard.
Mustard, thank you. So it was our project Dijon, and that it worked off. Always is hard, and you know it's not necessarily going to happen, so that it happened like this, super happy.
In terms of GC, we've got big gaps now. Reusser's got 14 seconds over Vollering. That's not a big gap. But then to the next riders, there's just about a minute to the grouping of Kerbal, Longoborghini, Niewiadoma, Fini, Blasi, AVDB, and then 2 minutes to the Niedermeyers, De Vries, Ferron Prevot group. So Reusser has put herself in the prime position to podium this race. And in fact, all she has to do from here on out is defend. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you with a recap tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.